the star. He's loving this.
Conservative leader Erin O'Toole campaigned in King City in the riding of King Vaughan. A riding in Ontario, the Conservatives lost to the Liberals by 911 votes in the last election, and one of those all-important ridings in the Greater Toronto area that will determine the fortunes of both the Liberals and the Conservatives. At a dog sanctuary, O'Toole promised a Conservative government would ban puppy mills and add animal cruelty as an aggravating factor in domestic violence prosecutions.
When it comes to animal abuse, we know criminals who hurt animals don't stop with animals. There is an established link between cruelty to animals and violence towards humans. This link makes it critically important that cruelty towards animals be taken seriously by law enforcement and by all Canadians.
O'Toole faced questions today about his climate plan and whether his own candidates actually support it, after a veteran Conservative MP, Cheryl Gallant, went online to warn the Liberals are planning a climate lockdown. She was later told by the party to remove the postings. Today, Erin O'Toole insisted all his candidates are on side.
Every single person running as a Conservative candidate is committed to our 5-pillar plan to get the country back on its feet and get people working. It includes climate change and our commitment to meet our Paris reductions, get emissions down while getting the country back to work. And our caucus will be focused on Canada's recovery. Every single person.
Liberal leader Justin Trudeau began the day in Granby, Quebec, before heading to Iqaluit. Granby's in the riding of Shefford, a riding in Quebec currently held by the Bloc Québécois, but the latest polling shows the Liberals have a real shot at adding this riding to the win column on election night. Trudeau promised a re-elected Liberal government would invest $1 billion over 10 years to protect or restore freshwater lakes and rivers.
Canada has a responsibility to be a world leader and invest in freshwater research. Unlike the Conservative government of Stephen Harper, who tried to dismantle this kind of work, we believe in attracting top scientists from around the world and staying on the cutting edge of research. We're making the choice to fund science because we're a government that believes in science. Frankly, I think we all know it's not good news for the environment or for research if the Conservative Party takes Canada back.
Trudeau also faced questions about the government's purchase and support of the Trans Mountain pipeline and how that squares with the more aggressive Liberal targets for cutting greenhouse gas emissions. He said the key is regulating overall emissions from the oil and gas sector.
The biggest concern that people have around the pipeline is, oh, we're going to see oil sands expansion. No, we're not. We're not going to see an increase in those emissions. And that's really important. We need to work with the industry to make sure that we are decreasing the carbon emissions per barrel, because that is the path forward, but the industry knows that.
I'm hanging out with some incredible candidates. I want to introduce you to all of them, starting over here. Yes!
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh campaigned in Ottawa before heading to British Columbia. Singh focused on his promise to bring in a tax of 1% on wealth over $10 million. A 2-point increase in the tax rate on annual incomes of more than $210,000 and a 15% tax on corporations that earned big profit windfalls during the pandemic. Singh says the additional tax revenues would help pay for NDP promises of universal pharmacare and dental care.
And if we started making sure that the super wealthy just paid their fair share, paid what they should be paying, we could invest in the solutions that people need. We could invest in healthcare. We could tackle the housing crisis. We could do so much more. So people want to see that happen. I think we're in a different time now, and people are more open to this, and people want to see this happen. And we are the party saying we can do it.
Jagmeet Singh has made clear his opposition to the Trans Mountain pipeline. But today he suggested an NDP government would not immediately scrap the project.
Well, it's clear I've been opposed to this project. I've been opposed to the expansion, and a new Democrat government would never have purchased it. When it comes to decisions that governments have to make, you need to know the assets and know the information before you make a decision in terms of what's in the best interest of Canadians, and I think that's prudent and smart governance.
Donc, quel bon vent vous amène?
Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet spent the day campaigning in Montreal. He was focused today on Quebec's demands for more control over immigration and promising to press those demands in the federal parliament.
Lots of water today, buddy.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of day it's been, day 16 of the federal election campaign.